So here's the first question: Is what are the top four skills that a good manager needs, and why? One is to manage with less command and control, and more being a part of the team. To a good manager needs to listen to all those working on the project and let them figure out the best ways to get the work done. Um, this doesn't mean you just let them run the whole show. This just means that you have to, without being forceful, you need to provide all the parameters that will make the project a success. Like, for example, I'm working now, if we need to make 100 sandwiches and have them done in 3 hours, I need to show them here's what they must look like, the components, the portions, the cost of this sandwich, so that they know what kind of food cost needs to be met. And then I'm going to tell them that, and you need to work clean and use proper safe food handling procedures. And those are the kind of parameters I give them, but I let them figure out, the best way. I can show them an example, but if they have a better idea, then I let them do that. When I was a young chef, when I was a young worker, the chefs often would just make you be a robot and follow exactly to the letter, and you were not to deviate in any way. And a lot of times you could see something wasn't right, but you couldn't change it. And you didn't feel like you had any ownership of the product. You didn't feel any responsibility to make it look good. You were just following orders, and that's I don't think that that's a good way to do it. I think that a good manager needs to work with their team. Okay, and number two, a habit of skill is a good manager needs to be in control of all the details. A good manager should think that he is doing everything himself in the kitchen or the restaurant. They just do it through other people. And delegating doesn't mean that you just let others handle all the responsibilities and you forget about them. You must be aware at all times of what is happening and what needs to happen in your kitchen or your restaurant. You need to know what products should be made at what time, or what needs to be prepared for when food service starts. You need to be aware of the portions. You need to be aware of what labor you're going to be needing, when deliveries are going to be made, when orders need to be put in. And if you're going to do this through others, you just observe and make sure that this is happening. And then a good manager walks around all the time observing and then fills in the gaps. I mean, if there's something that is not happening, or an activity is behind in getting done, you can kick in a little bit there, or you can go get something that is missing. You can tell someone that they need to clean up a spill if it happens. Make sure this is all that there is not a hiccup in the flow of production, and keep it going smoothly. And and this follows as well with all the paper issues. He needs to know his food costs. He needs to know his labor costs. And you actually need to know how much business you are doing each day, so you can get a feel of how the business is moving and if you're making a profit. So that's number two. Number three is you need to know how your product is being accepted. There's lots of ways to do this. You need to talk to your hostess, your waitresses and waiters. You need to go out and meet your customers if you can, if you have the ability to do that. If not, you can set up a social media where you can get reviews. You can do it through Yelp. You can do it through through Instagram, just anything you can do to get comments on your products. You need to be doing that at all times, and and then adapt to anything that needs to be changed. If there's an item that's not moving anymore, you need to adapt quickly to that change, and and um, and not be afraid to tell somebody something's not working. And so this is a very important in this day and age, especially as market changes quicker than it ever has before. I would say the next skill that is so important is to do it now. I mean, don't put off anything. If you know if somebody needs something, I might just take my phone and order it on Amazon, and so I don't forget about it. You know, I carry a little book in my back pocket where I can write down what needs to be done, and then I will get it done as quickly as I can. I try not to put anything off. And you'll be amazed that most of the time you can solve an issue right then and there. If there's a confrontation with some workers, or if if there's some sort of a problem with workers, if you can just get them together and figure it out right now and not say, well, we'll do this tomorrow, then do it. I think that's the best time to get anything done is right now. Okay, on to the next question. What's the hardest thing that I've had to learn? The hardest thing that I've had to learn is to not be afraid to tell people that something is not working, or that they need to correct their behavior. I mean, I'm a nice guy and I don't like to rock the boat. I don't like to make anybody unhappy. My personality is just not adapted to that. And so it's been very difficult for me to do that. I will just tend to say, oh, it's not that important. Oh yeah, maybe it'll work itself out, and I don't need to do anything, and I don't need to really tell them, and this has got me into trouble a lot of times. I've let people go off on their own when I needed to direct them, and things have gotten out of control. I trust people to do things, and then I found out later that they don't do them, and then I'm afraid to go, change the situation so that it doesn't happen. I've really had to learn how to keep on top of situations and not be afraid to tell somebody that they need to that we need to have a different plan of attack, or I don't have to go in and insult them or anything. I just need to make sure that whatever needs to happen is happening. Okay, this is it's early in the morning, and maybe I'm not saying this in the most eloquent way, but I would say that a lot of managers would probably think of themselves as failures because they can't direct people. They can't tell people the hard things that need to be said. But it can be done. You just need to learn how to do it. You need to just go out there and say it, and you will find better ways to tell people, and you will find in most cases that even people that don't like to be told what to do will be very accepting of what you have to say, a lot more than you think they will. You just don't need to insult them. You need to ask them, how can we do this better too? That will help, and that keeps it from being keeps from yourself being an asshole. So anyway, I think there's enough said about that. Okay, then we've got future trends. Let's talk about some future trends. I think a food service manager going forward needs to adapt to labor and food shortages, and diverse ways of marketing your product. I mean, okay, first of all, shortages. I mean, a good manager has to have a plan B in place. If you're short of help or a certain product, let's say if you're short of product, you need to have, several food service companies in your back pocket where you can get things. You need to have, if you're short of labor, you need to have maybe a pre-made product or something that can replace if you can't make it yourself. There's lots. You should always be looking to automate anything you can. There's lots of good programs out there for keeping your numbers straight, keeping all your how much you make and how much you sold and how much you wasted. There's all kinds of good programs, and a good manager needs to learn how to use those, as well as a good Excel spreadsheet, and you need to find lots of sources of finding help. There's ways of finding temporary help as well as a full-time employees. A good manager in the future needs to be able to cross-train everyone so they can pitch in and cover any task that's happening in the kitchen. I think that a manager needs to look at all the trends that are happening in food. It's good to go around and look at other stores, other restaurants, what they're doing. I mean, obviously now, curbside delivery and just full delivery are a trend in the future. I mean, more people are working from home. Less people are probably going to be traveling in cars. So you need to take that into consideration. You need to take into consideration, that people want more convenience. They're going to be wanting, different kinds of products. You may need to diversify your menu, and so you need to be aware of these things. And so, anyway, so that's enough for now. Hope you enjoyed this.